This one seemed interesting. We're now a little more on the philosophical side, chat. We are more on the philosophical side. Friendship is not gay, actually, by Geeky Stoics. Sounds interesting. My view is very simple. My view on this is very simple. Just because two characters interact for like a millisecond with each other doesn't mean they're gay or anything weird or anything else. It's just odd. And especially male friendships. Male friendships in fiction are weird. You know why? Because when two males interact, then they must be gay. Especially when they interact in a very, what's the word? When they have a very deep friendship. I see many people ship Frodo and Sam. By the way, Sam has children. So yeah, this is weird. Well, we'll jump in. Also, Frog and Toad is this chapter called. Interesting.
Those who cannot conceive of friendship as a substantive love, but only as a disguise of eros, betray the fact that they have never had a friend. Fellas, is friendship...
Ha! Gay?
Chad. Is brotherhood gay? We've been there. We've done that. The bros are the hoes. We've been there. We've been there. We've done that, chat.
With June now behind us, some call it Pride, there was another fresh round of national conversation about LGBT representation in popular media, and I came across this nightmare. Frog and Toad, remember them? These books by Arnold Lobel, who was gay by the way, were among my favorites as a kid. My memories with these books aren't...
Never knew of that, never heard of that. I was reading big fantasy novels as a child. Don't know how I got into that. Also, is that behind me? Is that Palpatine? Is that Darth Sidious? The Force.
Visceral, but they're more like fingerprints.
Do it.
I still feel the warmth of these stories, and it has a lot to do with the sincerity and simplicity of that friendship on those pages. But like so many other popular stories and friendships, people like to twist their meaning, and I'll tell you why they do this. Friends are fellow travelers. We recognize ourselves in them, and when friendships are healthy, we reveal ourselves and aren't punished for it. That's a very simple fact of most male and...
I'm also gonna say an incredible hot take for these weird ships. When they see two males interact that are friends and immediately project sexual tension onto them, I'm gonna say this. This is a woman thing. I'm sorry. Men usually don't do that. This is a woman thing.
In female relationships, there will always be some higher degree of scrutiny over the pairing, and in many cases, the friend zone, or the failure of a romance to come about, is taken as rejection or punishment. Men, like women, need space for relationships free of this factor, where none of this is taken into account. Friendship is about affection, but you hear it all the time. Sam and Frodo from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is a perfect example. They must be gay! These two men couldn't possibly travel Middle-earth together, sacrificing life and limb, comfort and safety for anything other than sexual attraction. And my God, the eye contact when they speak to one another and cry in their shared suffering. The word toxic gets quite abused, but it's actually so toxic to suggest this. And it comes from the very people who complain the loudest about straight men's emotionally withholding nature. Men should cry more. Why can't they share their feelings? But if they do, gay.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
Exactly. When we do, gay. Or it will be weaponized. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. It's more compassionate than the bro code, then yeah, I consider it gay. Yeah, but Frodo and Sam are not gay. And they're pretty, they have a quite deep friendship.
Wait a second. This is gay. This is really gay. Yeah, this is even gayer than all the men getting in a big pile and having sex with each other.
Also, the thing is, like, I believe that if you look through everything with a sexual lens, you're a weirdo. Like, you're an actual weirdo. Like, for real, a real weirdo. Not everything, not every interaction has to have sexual tension. whether IRL or in fiction.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Everyone back in the pile.
Back in the pile, everyone! We're going back to the pile.
C.S. Lewis, a warm friend of J.R.R. Tolkien for a time, wrote about this in explicit terms in his book, The Four Loves: Affection, Friendship, Eros, and Charity, which lays out a vision of masculine friendship in Chapter 2. In it, he starts off, "It has actually become necessary in our time to rebut the theory that every firm, serious friendship is really homosexual." It applies perfectly to Frog and Toad and also to Sam and Frodo when Lewis quips, "It cannot be proved, and it cannot be refuted." This chapter is some of C.S. Lewis's most fiery and clearly agitated writing. The very lack of evidence is thus treated as evidence. The absence of smoke proves the fire is only carefully hidden. If there was an invisible cat in the chair, it would look empty, but the chair does look empty, therefore there's an invisible cat in it. There are so many great male friendships in literature and TV. Sherlock and Watson, Corey and Sean from Boy Meets World, Arnold and Gerald, Jon Snow and Sam Tarly, Jay and Silent Bob, Turk and JD from Scrubs.
There's nothing gay about it in our eyes.
And there's different flavors of friendship.
Goku and Krillin. Naruto and Shikamaru. They're definitely best friends. Otherwise Shikamaru wouldn't probably be Hokage. Replacement Hokage. What other characters do I think of? Optimus and Bumblebee. They're robots. They're not human characters, but you get the idea. There's probably plenty of other characters that you could literally say they're just straight up best friends. Naruto and Sasuke. They're friends, but also rivals. Goku and Vegeta. Yeah, sure. I just put Goku and Krillin as Goku literally said he's his best friend multiple times.
The bromance is the TV sitcom default. It's guys backslapping, being vulgar, venting about their wives, and just having fun. Sometimes these on-screen relationships toy with the gay question as a matter of comedy, JD and Turk being a good example of that.
You're the only man who's ever been inside of me.
Whoa.
Playing
Pause? Senku and Chrome, Dr. Stone. So true. So true. And Senku and the buff guy, I forgot what it was. I forgot his name. But those two definitely as well. Sam and Frodo. It's more like Eren and Mikasa. Isn't Mikasa into Eren anyways? So kinda nod.
grab ass is part of the shtick, and that's a thing that guys do with select friends. Then there's the service buddy, the guy who you work with and share a mission. Castiel and Dean from Supernatural, Band of Brothers, Sam and Frodo. Sometimes we choose one another's company, but sometimes we don't. In the Fellowship of the Ring movie, Samwise Gamgee is sort of deployed by Gandalf to accompany Frodo because he heard about the ring through the window. But it's a relationship overflowing with a sense of duty, shared love for something bigger than themselves, and a mutual respect. Lovers are normally face to face, friends side by side. Men thrive in labor together. The best friendships I ever formed were in shared suffering on Boy Scout trips, in the rain, in the cold, in the wind, trying to set up a
Yeah. That's... Most men don't make particularly friends. Just like, I think a lot of dudes make friends at like workplaces or at like when they share something and they work on something together. I think that makes kind of sense, yeah. To appreciate and serve the chosen one while nothing better waits for him at home. True. I mean, a woman waits for him at home. The question is, would she have taken them if she didn't know that he was away, but yeah.
tent together in the dark, and men used to work together more regularly side by side before the digital era. I'm very lucky to work from home and have a keyboard warrior job, but it's isolating. I imagine many of you out there experience the same thing. I hated my cubicle job in my 20s, but I loved the presence of my cubicle mate, Dave, and his Star Wars bobbleheads and daily jokes about Grand Admiral Thrawn. There was a camaraderie and a kind of bromance that it was kind of surface level, but like the warmth of a fire,
True. It's what's, how do you put this? Like, the places you go to as a man, the work, it becomes bearable when there's people there. It just becomes more bearable. And you bond over that because you both of you hate the job. Senku and Taiju. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was the name.
You can feel it most sharply when it's no longer in your life. Men are, in fact, dealing with a crisis of loneliness in the modern world. The culture changed, but so did the economy, which has elevated the skills of loner types and diminished the contributions of men eager to work side by side toward building something or destroying things. The pleasure in...
Because there is nothing to build. There's nothing, like, obviously. There's nothing to gain, really. That's the problem. Men don't work together on something because there's... What are we working towards? That's the problem. Mikasa was, but by the end of the series, we figure she was just overloyal to Eren. Didn't want him like that, I think. Yeah, but she still was, so that can't work. Because Sam never was. Luffy can't count because I don't remember him a best friend. Because everyone is his best friend. Man, I love the Gear 5. Gear 5 was nice. Yeah, that was a good one. I think if there's anyone you could classify as a best friend or really close, at least from what I've seen, it could probably either be Zoro or Sanji. I'd argue Senku and Tsukasa, but isn't Tsukasa mostly an antagonist?
Cooperation, in talking shop, in the mutual respect and understanding of men who daily see one another tested is biologically valuable. One of the key features of worthwhile friendships is that the circle expands to include others. C.S. Lewis wrote that the opening line of a friendship is, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." Things begin in a shared love for something and grow from there. For C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, they were opponents at Oxford on a matter regarding the English language curriculum, but they found out that they were both obsessed over Icelandic myth and language, and so they formed a club around it called the Cult.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Oh. Yeah. I mean, isn't that how most friendships are in general formed, right? This is not just a men thing, right? Most friendships are formed over, like, sharing something. And since people don't interact much with each other anymore, or at least not as much as they used to, especially men, because, again, it's kind of rough it's kind of rough not falling into this loner thingy, right? I too. So yeah, he isn't wrong.
Biters. No one is going to find a friend based purely on selfish motivation like ending their loneliness. It has to begin with a passion and an interest in other people. Men do want to work together and feel like they're part of something. The Stoic Seneca touched on this when he described seeking out friends just so that you won't die alone. Anyone thinking of his own interests and seeking out friendship with this in view is making a great mistake. Those kinds of friends are fair weather and clingy. The fellowship that forms in Tolkien's Rivendell is not an amalgamation. It is part of the masculine instinct to take up arms with the guy next to you. We long for courage, and so often we're just waiting for the guy next to us to get the ball rolling. Someone has to say I first. Truly meaningful friendships, they are not closed. They invite others into it. Two men getting together.
True. It's also like, women can't, I'm gonna be honest, women can't do this. Or at least have not really seen it happen. But for, like, men, we cannot see each other for a while, but our, like, liking for each other doesn't particularly change. You're still friends, you're still homies after a year, after 2 years. That doesn't really change. At least not from my experience. That never changes.
together like Lewis and Tolkien did to share their writing becomes a campfire that other men want to join, and that's the group that became the Inklings, which helped birth The Hobbit and the Screwtape Letters and not.
True. Let me think. True friendship, you never expect anything from the other. Yep. Exactly. Just presence is fine. Exactly. Starting a club. I mean, when I look at like other friend groups, it depends. It depends what the cause is. Like, I don't know a bunch of people that are kind of not friends. They do just go drinking with each other, but aside from that, they don't hang out with each other at all. So would you consider that still a friend? Sharing something? Yeah, sharing the bit. I will throw you. Yeah, but it's in general just sharing something. Again, that goes for men and women. Though it's been less. But it's really just, oh, you too? Oh, now you're my friend now. It's like so simple. It's like actually so simple. You like something, the other person likes something. Friends. Oh, you too? Now one more friend. It's actually he's right.
Narnia. Friendships have to be about something, and that can be literature, or fantasy sports, or soccer, video games, or war reenactments. You will not find the warrior
or the collective hate for Hassan Piker. Not really having drinks with people is common in Japan. Actually required. But it goes beyond that, right? What I said is you only meet those people to go drinking and nothing else. There's nothing else. You share anything at all with them except drinking. If you're sleeping over with a true friend, you're sleeping on the floor and you ain't getting blankets. Exactly, you won't get the blanket. Yep, true. You will be sleeping on the floor.
The poet, the philosopher, or the Christian by staring in his eyes as if he were your mistress. Better fight beside him, read with him, argue with him, pray with him. Masculinity requires doing things. It's not just setting things right or bringing order to chaos. It involves saying yes when you might want to say no to your kids, to your wife, to your community, to the guy at work who wants to hang out on Friday when you're tired. When you get
it is doing the things that are right and not doing the things that feel good. That's what it should be. I think saying saying the truth when you don't want to because it doesn't feel good, doesn't make others feel good. That's a big part, I'd argue. Sleepover? Yeah, you've never been in a sleepover?
Locked into despair and saying no, and you retreat into yourself, there's nothing there. The world becomes worse off, and you need to be a part of it. Men have to be willing to get hurt and to be challenged. I think a lot about strained friendships like that of Boromir and Aragorn, or Bucky and Captain America, even 007 and 006 before the events of GoldenEye. They're people in tension with one another. They fight, but they're passionate. They care about things. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, America's most explosive frenemy relationship, was so warm.
Frenemies. Did I ever have frenemies? Do I have frenemies? I don't think I ever had any frenemies. I don't think so. I never had people where like we're friends but we actually absolutely dislike each other. That never happened. I was kidding. Usually they share a goal or purpose, I guess. Yep. Which example I had in my head. Okay. Masculinity say just do it. Explosion in the background. Hell yeah. Masculinity is seeing something and going hell yeah. That's what it is.
And so affectionate at one time, and so wounded because these men wanted to build a country, but they couldn't agree on the details. They loved one another because in that friend, in that rival, was someone else who cared. That's what I want. I want people in my life who give a damn and want to talk about it. Men are not often very good at this. It does take time, but that starts with making your values known. It gives somebody else the opportunity to reciprocate. You have to open the door so someone can walk through it. And guys, that relationship might end up looking a lot like Frog and Toad or Sam and Frodo. There will be hugs, backslaps, eye contact, tears, and
Someone will touch you in a gay way, but they're actually not gay. You know you have a true homie when he puts his hand on your thigh. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, you can only get friends if you're open, right? If you're showing who you are, so you can invite people who think the same, do the same, right? Thorfinn Einar. Life bros. Exactly.
anger and quiet coexistence. You can sit around and play video games, do nothing, or go out on an adventure. You share one another's company. Now, why does the culture try to corrupt and deride friendship? One of C.S. Lewis's most bold claims in The Four Loves about this is that friendships are a threat to power and collectivist tyranny. When you
That is true, though. That is true, though. I'm going even further. Not just friendship. No, it's the opposite. Whenever I meet a guy, the convo flows really easily with girls. It's, convo does flow, but more likely to get awkward because they don't know you well. Are you talking about two men together? Yes, male friendships. It's about male friendships. It's about male friendships. But even, I would say, even for women, that needs to happen. That you need to be open. So they know who you are, and then you can talk to you if they think that you think the same, you do the same, right? You had a friend in a competition or a game you wanted to win, then you had frenemies. I guess, sure, yeah. But yeah, it's bye Rita, spot it, caught in 4K. It's just yes, it is. Friendship is a threat to power. Even more so, that's why they annihilate the nuclear family. It's because it's a threat to power. It's a threat to politicians. It's a threat to ideologies, establishments. That is true. That's why we are. That's why we are separating humans. That's why there's so much loneliness. That's why there's so much infighting. There's a reason for that.
You form a clique. It discriminates and sets up walls around it about who is a good fit and who isn't. It's selective and values-based, and those values can be bad or they can be good. And what he feared most was sort of a quasi-communist world in which all men are companions, but none are friends. Which is to say, they are forced into one another's company. Nobody chooses it. Friendship is a miniature rebellion against larger groups and power structures. And I think deep, affectionate, and values.
Couldn't you just also grow that bigger when there's communities or something, right? A big thing is especially is games that are centered and targeted towards men. And then you have women trying to force their way into it, change the thing, and then tell the men that are into that particular topic to make their own community again. But if they do that, then they would force themselves in as well. Can you just grow that bigger? That when you don't have communities, if you don't have friendships, if you don't have something that connects you, if you have something that need to destroy it, isn't that just an idea? I don't remember the exact line, but Senku said to Tsukasa in the first episode something about men who compliment another man usually want one of two things, either to get close romantically or they want something from them. It's usually want something from that Senku quote. A man who praises another man to his face is either gay or tactician. True and real.
Driven male friendships are in fact threatening to some people. So be a bug in the system. Build friendships. And that starts with putting your values out there and purpose for people to see. Let's get it done. Thanks for watching Geeky Stoics.
This was a good philosophical video. I like that. And it's true. It's true. Too bad a lot of people are incredibly scared to do that. Men and women. Men and women are scared to say, this is where I stand. Because other people will then feel threatened and shit on them. So it's better to... So in those people's eyes, it's better to be silent. I disagree with that. Be open about what you believe. It might help everyone, not just you, but everyone. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.